3 of our bill. Clause 3 of the bill repeals Section 3 of the Principal Act. Section 3 of the Principal Act was really redundant because it doesn't even apply currently with this in place. And it reads, interests and powers not acquired nor lost by marriage. No person shall by marriage acquire any interest in the property of a person whom she or he marries, nor become incapable of doing any act in respect of his or her own property, which he or she could have done for unmarried. Because now remember, there is protection of the matrimonial home. So this section is really redundant because upon marriage, someone acquires an interest in your property in one way or the other. So this was also removed because even as it is currently, this section is not being applied. We move on to clause 4. Repeal Section 7 of the Principal Act. Section 7 reads currently, domicile of origin of an illegitimate child. Once again, this word creeps up, illegitimate child. So it reads, the domicile of origin of an illegitimate child is in the country in which at the time of his or her birth, his or her mother was domiciled. Imagine, the illegitimate children were children of the mother. Anyway, this was also removed because we removed references to illegitimate child, and all children are children, and children acquire the domicile of their parents. Section 5, our clause 5 reads, amendment of Section 9 of the Principal Act. And Section 9, currently as it is, talks about acquisition of a new domicile. Domicile, when we talk about domicile, are we together? Do we know what domicile could possibly mean? We know it? Okay, domicile is a place that you, in the simplest of terms, is a place that you choose to call your home. And it does not have to be the place originally from which you were formed. So for matters of succession, domicile is important because it will determine which jurisdiction your matter will be heard for, especially movable property. So if you decide, if originally you're from, say, Zimbabwe, and you settled here, settling also does not automatically does not mean domicile. There are other factors that they consider to determine whether this is your domicile. And when you migrate from one place to the next, that is called domicile by choice. So there is a domicile by origin, that is originally where you're from, the place you call home because that is where you were born, your family is best, your ancestors were in that place. Then domicile by choice is that scenario I've given of a person who moves from Zimbabwe and settles in Uganda and decided, this is my home now. So for purposes of succession, that person's property will be under the jurisdiction of the Ugandan courts, because this is where they are domiciled. Domicile also, questions of domicile also come into play for marriage and divorce. So in this particular provision currently, Section 9, acquisition of a new domicile, it reads, a man acquires a new domicile by taking up his fixed habitation in a country which is not that of his domicile of origin, except that a man is not to be considered as having taken up his fixed habitation in Uganda merely by reason of his residing here, there, in the exercise of any profession or calling. So the section has just been amended to refer to a person. Instead of making reference to the word a man, it makes reference to a person, that both man and woman. So it's substituting the word man for a person and inserting immediately after the word his, has. So it's made gender neutral and to cater to both male and female. Our clause 6, substitution of section 13 of the Principal Act. Minor's domicile. Currently it reads subsection 1 reads subject to subsection 2, the domicile of a minor follows the domicile of the parent from whom the minor derived his or her domicile of origin. Subsection 2 read, the domicile of a minor does not change with that of a minor's parent if the minor is married, which is also wrong. A minor cannot be married legally now under the law, or holds any office or employment in the service of the government, or has set up with the consent of the parent in any distinct business. So we have amended that to make it simpler and read, where a parent or guardian of a minor is domiciled in Uganda, that child is also domiciled in Uganda. So the child automatically takes up the domicile of the parents. We move on to section 14, which is our clause 7 here, substitution of section 14 of the Principal Act. So section 14 is domicile of a married woman. By marriage, a woman acquires the domicile of her husband if she did not have the same domicile before. So we also thought that was not fair. So now it reads domicile by choice. So instead it has been amended. It's not compulsory that if you marry someone, you automatically acquire their domicile. So it's domicile by choice. A person may acquire the domicile of his or her spouse upon marriage if that person did not have the same domicile as the spouse before marriage. We see many Wazungu these days marry women and they decide to be domiciled here. And yet there is no domicile by choice for men. It's assumed that it's always women who take up the domicile of their husband. So now it's by choice. Either spouse may take up the domicile of another. Our clause 8, repeal of section 15 of the Principal Act, still on the basis of being unconstitutional. It was actually declared unconstitutional in that case of Law Uganda, and it read, let me read for you. Wife's domicile during marriage. Subject to subsection 2, the domicile of a wife during the marriage follows the domicile of her husband. The domicile of a wife no longer follows that of her husband if they are separated by the sentence of a competent court. So now we've completely repealed that section because we inserted the section that provides for domicile by choice by either the husband or the wife to take up. If you're from different domiciles, you can take up either of the spouse's domicile. Move on to clause 9, substitution of section 18 of the Principal Act. Section 18 of the Principal Act reads, succession to movable property in Uganda. If a man dies leaving movable property in Uganda, in the absence of proof of any domicile elsewhere, succession to the property is regulated by the law of Uganda. So we've just substituted the word man with person because both men and women own property these days. So it reads, where a person dies leaving movable property in Uganda, in the absence of proof of any domicile elsewhere, succession to the property shall be regulated by the laws of Uganda. So that is making provision for women as well. We move on to our clause 10. Clause 10 repeals the whole of part 3. Part 3 is the one that I told you. These are some of the obsolete clauses that we have currently in our Succession Act, and we adopted from English law, and they don't even really apply But aside from not applying, they are completely discriminatory, because when they are talking about linear descendants, they are only referring to male descendants. And in fact, when you go to the first schedule that explains part 3, you will see that they make no mention of because it provides like a family tree. And in that family tree, they don't make reference to any woman, not a mother, not an auntie, not a sister, not a daughter. In fact, you'd rather give your property under that tree. Property would rather be given to a third generation male cousin, because they have references like cousin German, second cousin German, but not give property to a female lineal descendant. So this whole part that dealt with kindred or consanguinity was dealt away with in the bill.